Some of you may remember that I produced a podcast on the lie. I want to tie that in with this whole thing of fitness, particularly fitness killing truth. In other words, fitness being associated with lies. Hoffman sorted out pretty much how our representation of the world is tuned to fitness. Well, obviously it is. We're not going to have a representation of the world that is going to disadvantage us in some way and cause us to go or become extinct. So our perception of the world, the representations we have, he argues fairly convincingly that those are crafted by the one criteria of or criterion of fitness. But I want to look at it more broadly. Fitness kills truth in a broader context, because we have some idea of truth. I shall get onto that at the end of this. But so why does fitness kill truth? Well, let me give a few examples. So, in personal behavior, for example. So you're at work. You have a brilliant idea on how your department can save 10% of its costs every year, and your bosses it will heavily reward anybody who comes with cost-saving ideas. And then one of your colleagues wanders across the office and says, "Oh, Joe, what are you working on?" "Oh, well, I'm working on this brilliant idea of how we can save 10%. "Oh, yes? How's that then, Joe?" And you blab it all out, and of course your colleague, so-called colleague from across the office, then goes running to the boss with this brilliant idea that he's just thought up, and gets the promotion or the bonus or whatever. So, if your colleague comes to you, says what you're working on, what are you going to do? You're going to lie. You're going to say, "Oh, nothing particular. I'm working on this boring thing that we've got to do for da-di-da-di-da." And as soon as you mention it's boring, your colleague is going to run for the hills. So there's an example of fitness killing truth. Another example, you decide to sell your property, your house, your home. So what happens? Well, you look around and you see cracks in the walls, and you have a surveyor and he says, "Oh, well, you got some subsidence here, it needs fixing." But the fixing is expensive, so you decide to just get a decorator to paint over all the cracks, to fill them in and paint over them. And then someone comes around to your house and says, "Oh, lovely property. Have you had any problems with it?" "Oh, no. We've never had any problems with this property." Yeah. Meanwhile, you know that there's 20 grand's worth of work that needs doing to make sure the foundations are secure. Fitness killing truth. You're not going to say to this person, "Oh, well, we've had some really bad subsidence problems and it's going to cost 20 grand to sort it out." And then it's the same if you apply for a job. Maybe you've spent a week messing around with a programming language. Maybe you spent a week trying to learn C, the C programming language. And then you see a job advertised and it says, "Familiarity with C would be an added bonus." So you apply for the job and tell them you're a C expert. Fitness killing truth. So in our daily life, we behave in a way where we try to optimize fitness at the cost of truth. Fitness kills truth. Why would we be interested in truth? Well, as I say, I'll talk about that at the very end. And then there's the truth of ideas. So, a few years ago I saw It was when the election campaign was running, it for election for president in the United States was running. And they went around interviewing people, and they interviewed one guy, and they said, "Oh, why are you going to vote for Trump?" He said, "Because he's going to make me rich. He's promised that he's going to make me rich." Of course, he hadn't promised to him personally. It's just the stuff Trump had been saying, America great again, we're all going to be rich, yada, yada, yada. And was that true? Well, no, of course it wasn't. This guy was not going to be made rich by Trump. Quite the opposite, probably. But that's an idea. That was an idea that enhanced personal fitness. You can sell anything if you enhance personal fitness. I know someone very well, a woman. She is incredibly vain. If you want, she's quite old now, but she's still incredibly vain. If you want to get her to buy you a meal, or you want something from her, all you have to do is say, "Oh, Marigold," yeah, her name isn't Marigold, but Helen, you're looking really, really good today. What have you been doing to your hair? Blah blah blah. Of course, she's just this old bag that it looks like a stick insect. She's so skinny, and her skin is sort of almost dropping off her body. Old people are not attractive because they're nearing death, and death isn't attractive. But if you tell her that she's looking good and looking youthful and all the rest of it, then you can get pretty much what you want. Not that I practice that, but I've seen other people practice it. And again, that's an idea, a fitness promoting idea that kills truth. And in actual fact, there's, you've probably heard of Darwin and Darwinism. There's a generalized Darwinism, where the fitness of things could be ideas, could be motor cars, could be designs, could be obviously behaviors, where the ones that are successful are the ones that are most fit. This is why our society is full of lies, because the ideas that are dominant are the fittest ideas. They're the fittest because they make people feel fitter, even though they're not fitter. This is why this particular channel is never going to attract thousands of people. If I wanted to attract thousands of people, I'd be telling them that they can, they can realize the things that they imagine through a very special and particular exercise. That life is just going to be roses, roses. And that idea would be far more marketable than the idea that we're going to die and that life is based on lies and so on. So, fitness kills truth in personal behavior. Fitness kills truth in the truth of ideas. This is why all the ideas that are around us are lies. If an idea is prominent, by definition, it is a lie. And then we get to 3, which is covered by Hoffman. The way we represent the world to ourselves: colours, taste, sounds, space, time, causality, and so on. Is basically a lie. This is not what the world is. We don't know what it is, but this is not what it is. This is an optimized lie that gives us maximum survivability. And point 4, and this is where Hoffman is deficient in my opinion. I don't think he really understands that the way our minds work is also an example of fitness killing truth. In other words, based on lies. So that we see things as individual objects, that we see things in terms of quantity and quality and connectedness and causality. It's all a lie, and it's a lie that has been spun through the evolution of our mind to enhance fitness. So you might say to yourself, well, where do we turn for truth? Well, ultimately, there is nowhere we can turn. We're fucked. But we can possibly get a closer approximation to it through reason. Now, Gurdjieff talked about two ways of living for man. He gave them long, horrible names in Beelzebub's Tales, which I can't remember. One way is to live like a two-brain being, which is basically emotion and physical body. Yeah, like an animal, basically. Or you could live like a three-brain being, where you also include reason. Excuse me. So where you include reason. Now, I've mentioned this before, but if you look through Beelzebub's Tales, he mentions the word reason hundreds of times. The Gurdjieff groupies don't notice that. They're looking for the strange names like the omnipresent Okidanok or something. Anyway, so reason makes us a kind of a three-brain being. Now, why would we want to use reason? Well, Spinoza outlines it, because if we can all act reasonably, then we can make life better for each other. But it's not going to happen in a hurry, because our life is so full of lies. In fact, the way we are constructed is a lie to enhance our fitness. So, Hoffman is deficient there. He's producing all these mathematical models and clever stuff that actually isn't clever, it's stupid, to try and prove his point. And without realizing that not only is the representation of the external world a lie, but the way our minds are structured is a lie to enhance our survivability. So, I've finished with fitness now. I won't do any more of fitness, I promise. But I thought it was important to just go over how this notion of fitness killing truth permeates the whole of our life and the whole of our existence.